And we hope to see whether Mika Häkkinen, 7th yesterday, will have found more time from the work they did this morning, but indications were that that was not the case. Of course, put a fresh set of tires on a car, and all of a sudden the car is transformed. And once you get that feeling, once that confidence floods back, then the times just roll on.
Pedro Lamy then, 1.6 seconds down on the split, and that's not a bad performance from Lamy in the Minardi Ford at that first checkpoint, and he's down in 19th place at the moment.
And again, that is a confirmation of how good a chassis the Minardi is. They are still telling us every release they put out after a time session makes reference that our car in these parts of the circuit is a match for anybody else. We're just losing out in horsepower.
I had a quick wander around this morning on the free practice session, and certainly, as we see there, the gap has opened up a little bit. Luca Badoa looked fairly impressive. The car looked good as well, turning into some of those tighter corners on the infield section. So it looks as though they've got the car handling pretty well, but obviously they haven't got the sort of horsepower of the top team. Let's see if he can improve on 19th place. Yes, he does a bit, moves up to 17th, so that'll get his local fans here in Estoril a little bit more excited.
But other than Mika Häkkinen and Mark Blundell, we're waiting to see who's coming up. Well, in fact, as we mentioned, Jean Alesi in his Ferrari, the first of those at the front, well, back to the third row alongside Eddie Irvine, but Alesi and Gerhard Berger looking to put their Ferraris onto the front row, as is the case of Damon Hill and David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher, Johnny Herbert. Everybody has got one aim in mind. They know the difficulties that exist in Estoril in terms of overtaking, and with 71 laps and the prospect of multiple pit stops, this race really is going to be wide open.
Mark Blundell has improved his time from yesterday. He was 13th, remember, he's now up to 11th with his first flying lap, and in fact has found virtually a second from what he did, well, over a second from what he did in the first session. So that bodes well, but as he said, a little further down in the free practice session, they weren't right up in the top 10 as we would perhaps have expected.
But just looking at Mark Blundell's time now, 1 minute 23.351, he was only 0.4 of a second slower this morning, and I don't imagine that Mark Blundell ran a fresh set of tyres or a new set of tyres to do that time. So they've found just under half a second, but they need to find considerably more to get themselves from 11th place up into the front half of the top 10.
Pedro Lamy, no further improvement for him on that last lap, so it looks as though that's the end of his qualifying effort.